Hi everybody, and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This one's from user throwaway awkward job. My 21 female coworker, something male, won't leave me alone and I'm struggling to politely but explicitly set boundaries. I've recently, within the last few months, started a new job working in a supermarket, and I'm struggling to set boundaries with a coworker. This is my first retail job, so all the social aspects are completely new, and I'm not sure how to handle this in a way that isn't going to make my work life more difficult. In my first week, I made the mistake of being openly friendly with all the night shift workers, and now have a coworker who kind of won't leave me alone. Some recurring examples. Every shift, he brings up the fact that I walk to work and he thinks I should take the bus because it's dark when I walk in. He will stick on this point until I literally walk away, and will often bring it up if I end up in his section again that shift. I've tried to deal with this by just politely saying that I enjoy the walk every time it gets brought up, but it literally happens every shift. He frequently makes weird comments about when he's going to get to try my cooking and stuff, which make me quite uncomfortable, and again, I generally leave the area when that happens. He's also learned stuff about the history of my hometown. He will continually try and engage me in conversation every time he sees me, even though my job is timed, and will literally drop what he's doing to do so whenever he sees me. He will also try and help me whenever I'm in his section, and doesn't take "I'm fine, thanks" for an answer. The thing that tipped me to making the post, though, was an incident yesterday. I missed a few shifts due to illness and went back in yesterday. When I ended up in his section, he kept telling me to buy multivitamins and other things because I'd been ill, and later on handed me some that he'd bought. For me, this crossed quite a big boundary and just made me incredibly uncomfortable. Usually, I ask my partner when I'm unsure about work situations, but in this case, he doesn't know what to tell me either. Up to now, I've dealt with it by wearing headphones around the store when the night shift is in. He just keeps talking at me, taps me until I remove them, saying, "Sorry, I'm behind," and walking away. He follows me, not engaging and shutting down the conversation attempts. It doesn't seem to faze him at all. Not making eye contact and just pretending I haven't seen him. See headphones. At this point, other than being outright blunt, I'm not really sure what to do. But if I do that, then I'm going to earn a reputation of being a difficult, rude from the rest of the night shifters, which could negatively impact my performance if I ever need help. So basically, how do I deal with this? Okay, OP, if this was me, I would politely but sternly and assertively shut him down. In my opinion, when people are too obtuse to take a hint, then you don't give them any more hints and you need to be blunt and tell them how uncomfortable they're making you. Also, if you have a shift manager or something, you need to go to them. Now, OP, the only thing I would say to you is that if you do confront him, have someone there with you as a witness or something, because this guy sounds like a nice guy. And if you don't know what a nice guy is, go to the nice guy subreddit and then you'll get the picture. But basically the gist is that when a nice guy gets rejected, he gets aggressive. But that's enough out of me. Now let's move on to the community comments to see what kind of advice they gave OP. Halfgang says, "You need to discuss this with your manager, explaining how the behavior is unwanted, unacceptable, and how it is making you feel." OP says, "You're right, I just need to get over the new job anxiety and ask for help. I wasn't really sure if I was overreacting or not as well, since apparently it happens a lot." Quiet Lifter says, "Be outright blunt in a professional way. Definitely ask your manager and/or HR department for help. Don't let them tell you it's harmless or just the way he is. He's capable of change, regardless of his age." GhostGal84 says, "At this point, it seems that there is no way to politely shut it down. He won't get the hint. I'd give him back the vitamins and tell him you're uncomfortable taking gifts from a coworker. If he persists, tell him you feel it's inappropriate and unprofessional. If his behavior persists, take it to your manager, especially because he's interrupting your work and also stopping his own work to speak with, stalk you throughout the store." OP responds, "Yeah, I definitely need to be more assertive about the issue. With the vitamins, I kind of just left them in the back because I didn't really know what to do at the time, but didn't want to take them." Well, seems to me like OP got some pretty solid advice from the community, and she is getting ready to do something or feels like she should do something. What about you guys? What advice would you give OP? Let me know in the comment section. And now let's move on to the update to see what OP ended up doing. I only got a few responses on my post, but I thought I'd update for completion in case anyone else is in a similar situation and debating what to do about it. Initially, I decided to resign. I'd received my timetable for university and it clashed with my work hours, so I was tossing up either renegotiating my hours or resigning. This job has been quite helpful for me over lockdown, stopping me from going mad staying at home all the time and providing a bit of financial stability after my partner got made redundant. However, the coworkers' actions were making me dread the first half of my shifts and giving me some anxiety about going into work, so I made the decision to hand in my notice. The day I handed in my notice, the coworker's actions escalated again into crossing a physical boundary after he followed me into an aisle again. At the time, I was in a bit of shock and kind of underreacted because it wasn't a massive leap in behavior from what I'd been dealing with before, but it did make me deeply uncomfortable. I actually avoided half of the shop for the remainder of his shift after that, which had a slight negative impact on my performance that day. Despite being very uncomfortable with what had happened, I still kind of thought I was overreacting about everything until I told a close group of friends what had happened and saw how outraged they were by it. I realized that if it had happened to a friend, I'd be reacting completely differently and encouraging them to report it. The day after it happened, I reported it at the start of my shift. I'd been worried about saying anything beforehand in case my perception of what had happened was wrong, but decided I should report it in case anyone else has the same problem in the future, so there's a trail. At this point, I was expecting to only have a couple of shifts left, so I didn't expect anything to happen about it whilst I still worked for the company. Management's response was honestly better than anything I could have expected. They took it very seriously, were really nice to me about it and reaffirmed that I wasn't overreacting, which did actually make me cry a bit. My union rep was very supportive as well and helped me through all of the meetings I then did to officially report what had been happening. She also knew exactly who I was talking about from the description of events, as he apparently has a history of similar behavior, but no one had reported it until now, as far as I'm aware. She mentioned that she knew I was quite quiet and that was probably one of the reasons he targeted me, which I agree with. It did take me several months to stop doubting myself and speak up. I mentioned to my union rep that this coworker was why I resigned instead of renegotiating my hours, and she encouraged me to talk to my manager about it. Long story short, I get to keep the job with hours that fit around my uni work. And whilst the matter is investigated, the events mentioned at the beginning of the post were caught on CCTV and I was able to give an exact location and a rough time frame. My start time has been pushed back to prevent our shifts from overlapping, which is a big relief. One of the managers told me that you should always speak to someone if you're feeling uncomfortable in the workplace, because if it's not serious, they can tell you that and help you work through it, and if it is serious, they can do something about it. I do regret not speaking up sooner and doubting the validity of my feelings for such a long time. But if anything like this happens to me again, either here or in future employment, I'll feel much happier reporting it before it escalates to this point. So basically, you were all right. Reporting it was the right decision, and I'm just sad it took me so long to actually do it. I've always been a bit quieter and struggled with confrontation or making a fuss, drawing attention to myself. But obviously, sometimes it's necessary, and I'm glad I've gotten over that hurdle now. So thank you for your advice on my initial post. It might have taken me a while to actually follow it, but I'm glad I have, and I feel a lot more comfortable at work knowing the situation is actually handled. Well, OP, this is fantastic news. I'm happy that you took the advice from the community and reported this incident. Now you don't have to deal with this nice guy coworker that was making your work so uncomfortable, and you get to keep your job while going to uni without having any conflict in schedule. But the best thing I think is that you were able to work through you thinking that reporting this would make you a persona non grata with the rest of your coworkers. It's a good thing that you did this, OP. You set a precedent for anybody else who would be in this situation. Good for you, OP. And so we've reached the end of the video. I truly hope you liked it. If you did, leave a like. And don't forget to subscribe to reach our goal of 100,000 subscribers. Also, if you feel like chatting with others from this community, you can always join my Discord server and check out my subreddit. I'll leave the links in the description. And I'll see you guys in the next video.